Think just like having a goal in mind and setting yourself to that goal and making sure all your decisions align with that really helped with where I wanted to go. So if it didn't align with where I wanted to go, I just kind of put it second to everything else. That's really what it was, and it really helped eliminate a lot of other like bad decisions or even maybe not the best decisions.
All right, welcome back to the Young All American State of Mind podcast with your boy, the Young All American Justin Foley.
With your young superstar, Brendan Cotman.
Man, today we got a special guest. Introduce him, my guy.
Man, this dude is a former national champion. He took seventh, second, and third at the U.S. Open. He took second at the U.S. World Team Trials. He took third at the U.S. Open. My old teammate, Timothy Young.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Like this has probably been like some of the most exciting times of my life right now. I'm like really living my childhood dream, which is really crazy. It's been exciting.
That's crazy, bro. Because I feel like I was talking to Brandon today. I was telling him like life can change in a matter of seconds. And I remember when you were in town, like you were like unsure about some stuff of like what you wanted to do. Can you explain like how did you like figure everything out? Because I know like you made a sacrifice of moving to Colorado to pursue your dreams. So like how did that all play into what you're trying to do?
I think just like having a goal in mind and setting yourself to that goal and making sure all your decisions align with that really helped with where I wanted to go. So if it didn't align with where I wanted to go, I just kind of put it second to everything else.
Wow.
So that's really what it was. And it really helped eliminate a lot of other like bad decisions or even maybe not the best decisions.
How does it feel to be living in one of your dreams and one of your prayers?
It's so exciting. Every day it's some new people. I meet bronze medalists, world champions, like every other day they're coming through. I met Jordan Burroughs the other day. That was super exciting. Like I grew up watching these guys, like, oh my gosh, I want to fanboy out sometimes. And it's crazy. I do a little bit, I'm like, oh, I'll get a picture with Snyder or Jaden Rivers here. I was playing basketball with Zahid Valencia the other day. Like this has been really fun. And it's crazy to think that like those were some of my heroes growing up. Jordan Burroughs, Jaden Cox. Evan Ruth is one of my favorites, but I haven't had a chance to see him yet because he hasn't been out here or anything. But it's like now I'm in that position of where like the heroes I saw growing up. So I just want to be that for somebody else and be like, you can do it,
Dang, that's super dope. Like, does it seem kind of like surreal, like shell shock, being able to get to that level of like competition? Because like we all know as levels, is life in general. How does it feel to be at like a world level type of wrestler rather than just being like, okay, I'm just a high college wrestler?
Every day I find myself like before practice, like just taking a moment and just like, yeah, I'm here. Like, wow, like this is really the things that I hoped and prayed for and worked for. And sometimes it seemed a little far-fetched. Like sometimes I didn't believe it myself. And what really helped with that is the preparation that I took and a lot of that lonely time I spent, a lot of like those practices where I don't have a partner or it's just me and coach and I'm just drilling and I don't have anybody else next to me. So it makes it all really worth it.
When did you realize like you had to lock in with yourself and you didn't just have to wait and depend on others to really put in work and that you was capable of doing it?
I think it was I was in a really bad spot. I was like, okay, what do I really, really want out of life? And I was like, I want to be a professional wrestler. And once I just decided that's what I wanted to do, I was like, okay, everything else got to go out the window. And I was just like, forget everything else. I'm going to sell out. So I sold out to that dream of being a professional wrestler. And I think it was it was just like I felt like very stagnant in life, and I didn't see a lot of changes. And I think, I stopped relying on people. Like I have people that have my back, but I stopped like making the excuse like, oh, I don't have help or whatever the case may be, or I don't have a ride to practice. Like I'll just go get my workouts in. I'd find a way even without having somebody to help me do it.
Dang.
More help has come along now, so it's really
Man,
great.
man, you making me want to stand up and like go drill or something right now, bro. Like you got me moving around like no, bro, like I just know how it is, bro. Like when you first and I think like even from you, Tim, like I feel like I've seen like a lot of growth because I remember like after you won your national title, like you got injured the next year and you didn't place at nationals the second year, but it's just like looking back, like how were you able to get through like the injuries? And I know it's like some other stuff that's going on like in your life, but how was you able to get through that, like all the things that you were going through mentally during that year?
So it's a real mental battle. It's really like making the decision. Like I had this friend, Joe Rao. This guy, his ankle is messed up. He messed up his ankle, but he was like, I'm not gonna allow that to be an excuse for why I wrestle poorly. So not allowing yourself to make excuses for why you're not gonna wrestle good, or like just determine in your mind that's what you want to do already, and make a contract with yourself.
Mm,
Man,
dang.
think about how you don't worry about things you can't control. You don't worry about the can't. You always have a I can on the flip side, because a lot of people let the I can't and like not having like another person there be like, man, this is the reason why I can't do this. There's another reason why I can't do it. So it is what it is. But you're like, nah, forget that. I'm just gonna do what I can.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. I was posting like little snippets of like me drilling with a dummy or whatever, just practicing. My mom's like, yo, people are studying you. And I was like, Mom, they gotta stop me, first of all. And then to me,
Dang.
like it's so
Talk
crazy.
that talk.
You're determined on something, like there's not too much that can stand in your way. Like really it's yourself. You're really battling your best version of yourself. You're battling your own doubts. And I still have doubts myself. And one thing that I used to do was just like play a lot of like TD Jakes motivational stuff before I'd go to bed, just to help me battle those negative thoughts. Like
Wow.
your own inner voice is powerful, but also having something that reruns in your head to remind you can be very helpful. Yeah, he's
That
got some really powerful stuff, like very powerful life lessons for men, for people. If you're going through something, I think he's a great person to like bend your ear towards. I really like
man,
him.
after like because it was my first time, because I know you flew in and like I even learned a lot from you, like just like technique wise and like little stuff that you was teaching me, and even stuff about putting in my body and whatnot. And just being able to see like high level Greco and freestyle. In my opinion, I believe high level Greco is more exciting than freestyle, just because you're able to see like more. You're able to see more technique. You're able to see like guys are not getting as tired as they are in freestyle because you're not defending legs. But like, what's like your opinion on freestyle and Greco? Like,
My opinion on freestyle and Greco. I think they're
yeah,
both exciting. I love watching both of them. I really honestly think Greco is underappreciated with the value of excitement it has. I think people do want more results, and like there's a big change coming to Greco right now. Honestly, like they're changing things around with the program. They're trying to get guys prepared to get world medals. And that's funny when you said like, I'm a world level athlete, and I do see that, but at the same time, there's like a ceiling, you know what I'm saying? Like I haven't been able to compete outside the country. So at least for a long time, it's been a long time since
yeah,
I've competed outside the country. And so
wow,
there's like ceilings you have to break. Like getting competition overseas is a ceiling you need to break. And also like getting just outside the US, which you gotta go through the trials, you gotta go through the US Open, you gotta do
yeah,
all that good stuff. And
yeah,
that's where like breaking that ceiling comes from, because now you're like, oh, there's a much bigger pond than just the USA. Now you jumping into the ocean. You're like, oh snap, there's sharks in the water. So
Man, for real, dude. Like it's
Mhm.
and it's and I know it's like a long process of it. Like with me, like it's every wrestler's dream to make the world trials, but like it's not just like, okay, you're in this tournament
Mhm.
and you got to just try to place. Like, no, these some of these guys, like they're training just as hard as you, and it's crazy to say like when it's like I think the toughest times is when, like you said, when you don't have nobody to practice with. Like, are you making excuses during the times where like instead of saying like, man, I don't got no practice partner, and then just doing it,
Mhm.
and just putting in that work. But like, it's just crazy how like when you just do something, you're just successful at it instead of just coming up with excuses. Because I feel like we all can come up with excuses. It's just we got to
Mhm.
do them. I mean, we just got to get past that. So
Yeah, and
that's super dope.
it hurts. It hurts for real. Like it's growing pains. You're like, dang. Like you might call somebody, hey bro, I thought we are gonna practice today, and they can't show up for whatever reason it may be, and it hurts a little bit. You're like, okay,
Man,
well, I don't have a partner. I'm either gonna go get this workout in and get what I need to out of it, or I'm gonna just sit at home. And you've already made the contract to do the work. Just because that person's not there, what does that matter, you know?
yeah, right. Dang, that's
Man,
crazy, bro.
that's so real, man. How did you learn to hold yourself accountable? Because I keep on hearing you say you got to make this contract to yourself.
I think it's really like a little bit of things that drive me. Like honestly, my family drives me. Like bringing honor to my name drives me. Bringing honor to God drives me. Like you gotta have some more drive outside of yourself. Because I feel like, of course, what we want for ourselves is powerful, but when you have something outside of you that drives you, then you're gonna be a real force to be reckoned with. When you representing your family, when you're representing God, like all that is behind you, you're like, okay, I don't want to fail. And also when you have people pouring into you, they're pouring time or money. Like that's one thing. Like I took seventh last year and I was disappointed and I was unsure of myself because I didn't have the body of work and experience behind myself. So like it was awesome placing seventh, but it wasn't my goal. I wanted to place at least top five. And just having that experience, I was like, okay, I need to get more work under my belt. And then I became more confident. I already went to the tournament once. I know how it goes. I know when to rest between my matches. I know what I need to put in my body before the match, things like that. So
Man,
believing in something more than just you and doing it for just more than you.
wow. What would what would you say to the people that's chasing? I wouldn't say chasing, but pursuing in the dream of, but at
Mhm.
least placing at the U.S. Open. Like, what are the right steps to take in that direction?
I think just sell out, buy into your program. If you have coaches, buy into what they're telling you. They're gonna lead you as best they can. And there's a lot of coaches I disagreed with, but I bought into what they were telling me, what they were teaching me, preaching me, showing me, and it worked out for me really well. So if you believe in it, it don't even have to be the best program in the world, but if you believe in it and believe in what you're doing, that'll take you very far. Put the work
Dang.
in. You're not gonna be successful right off the rip. Nope. There's a lot of people who aren't successful their first time around. But that second time, you get a little better. That third time, you get a little better. Maybe you don't place the first time. Maybe you go 1 and 2, but next year you go 2 and 2. Then next thing you know, you're placing. So keep giving
Dang.
yourself a chance to like, okay, I failed, but I'm gonna do better. So fail and do better.
Wow.
Man, it reminds me of a quote I heard somebody say. It was like, fail up, you know? And what they
Yeah,
meant by that is like just do better, like after, like whatever failure you come across, and use that experience to help you level up and what you're trying to do.
I think that's definitely where I got that from. And there's a lot of things like I've bought into. Like I bought into that myself, and just using that and remembering it's helped me a lot.
Yeah. I got one more thing, bro. Like, hey, um, it was funny that I remember you telling me I should train at the training club that we were at when you're in
Mm-hmm.
town. because of the people that were coming in there. But he
Yo,
told me this.
Mental stock walked in there, my boy. That's yo.
No,
That's
but
the
like,
gets, and you know what I'm saying? Like, she's cold. She's
yeah,
cold.
for sure, bro.
She
I'm
got
gonna for sure
connection.
get in there. But he told me this quote. He said, uh, "Go somewhere where you're not the best in the room." He said, and then become the best in the room. I was like, dang, like what, like, would you say that's like a solid quote to go by?
I definitely like that. I think there's a lot of times I was not the best guy in the room. I was never a super technician, but I was willing to outwork people when other people weren't willing to work. Like even right
Wow.
now, I don't think I'm the best guy in the room. I've got the number one guy in my weight class. I've got the number three guy who he might be better than me. I just won that day. And I gotta
Yeah,
stay on my toes. And next year I gotta improve. And if I
yeah,
don't, I have to change something.
right.
So I'm working to beat the guy in front of me. And the guy behind me, he's working to beat me and the guy in front of me.
Dang, that's crazy how that work out, bro. Like
Yeah.
the dang, it just never stops, bro. It's just like it's almost just like money. It never stops traveling. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
the guy behind you is training to beat you, and you're training to beat the guy in front of you. But like
Mhm.
he has two guys. You're trying to stay on your toes so you don't lose the spot behind that guy. It's just crazy how
Yeah.
that works
And then
out,
you,
bro.
then you
Like
got the young guys. You got young guys coming up, coming out of college, stepping in. So,
yeah,
you gotta be ready. You gotta prepare. And you can't be afraid to meet the challenge. Every day I have to go face the number one guy in the room. And I can't
yeah,
just be timid and be scared and not work on my moves or not try. You know, I have to take chances and do it in the practice room when it's practice. So then I'm confident when I go out on the mat.
dang, that's crazy. And one thing that I like too is that you wasn't sponsored by like no super big sponsorship or anything like that. Like I think you put on notice, like you don't got to be sponsored by a super big supporting system or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it all depends on you. Like what at the end of the day, you like you said, you got to put in the work. So I think with you taking third at the U.S. Open, second at the World Team Trials, without like sunk his kids or Penn
Right.
State being some, you know what I mean? Like you did what only you can do, and you made the
Yeah.
best out of it.
That's interesting too because one thing is a lot of guys go to freestyle because there's more money in freestyle. There's not as much
Wow.
money in the Greco. And
Right.
there's no excuse, no matter what we're trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to get that gold, world medal, silver, bronze, whatever place, you know. So there's no excuse for not having the resources. Sometimes you gotta go all in. And it doesn't always work out, you know. But give
Yeah.
yourself a chance. You got to give yourself a chance though, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And it's not always the those big sponsors that make or break you, you know. Like I started off with a smaller sponsor, and I honestly started off with almost no sponsor.
Dang.
So I was just like, I'm gonna get it done, and I was blessed that he was looking for an athlete to sponsor AAU.
Wow.
Yeah, Hector Gomez. Like
Yeah.
he really looked out for me, and the better I did, obviously there's more financial requirements. Like you got to go fly out to the U.S. Open in Vegas, or you got to go to New York for the final leg. So the more successful I got, the more financial requirements I needed, and they were willing to help me more. So give yourself the opportunity, and more things will come along with it. Like I saw this video the other day, and it was talking about how this guy takes like private jets all the time, but that's because his life requires him for convenience sake. It's not that he
Dang.
always wants to fly private jets. It's just convenient. If he has to have a meeting in an hour and he's out of state, he has to get a private jet. That's what his life requires. So put yourself in position to where it's going to require people to give you more money, you know, but you got to put the
Dang.
work in, of course.
That's true.
For sure.
Man, I want to
Dang.
go back to something you said earlier when you was like, you have to be willing to face the challenges. Like, you know, because I heard Mike Tomlin, he said in an interview, man, if you want to be great, you can't seek comfort. And it's like, man.
Yeah, it's a scary place. You get hurt there, you might cry. You know what I'm saying? Wrestling is it's a little bit of an emotional sport. It's definitely mental and it's physical. You know, so it takes all of you. It takes all of you. But yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy, bro. Like you would say, like wrestling is such an emotional sport, and just being able to like just overall overcome the the battles that come with it, and just things off the mat is tough too. Like, and then you're trying to train, like you have that stuff on your mind, like, and I understand, like I've been there before. Like sometimes it gets lonely as an athlete. It does. Like it gets lonely as an athlete. Well, yeah, like I mean, all of us are athletes, you know what I mean? We've been athletes and like we've been in a point where it was just like, man, this is like mentally tough. Like while everybody's out like partying and doing what they, you know, doing their thing or whatever, like in season and stuff, like it's hard to like stay focused during those times. Like, and I feel like that's the uncomfortable part. You know what I mean? Like just staying on what you know, what you need to do, and you know what's best for you. You know,
it's like practicing with no music. Like it's silent. All you got is your heartbeat and your footsteps, and that pain in the back of your mind telling you to stop. But you gotta be like, yeah, no, forget about that. I'm gonna keep going. Like someone told me, this guy Jim, I forget what his last name is. He's a coach here over at the OTC. He was talking about how you have to get uncomfortable. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like you have to be able to visit that dark place. Like don't live there, but you have to be able to go visit it and be comfortable there and come back.
Dang.
So I really like that.
Dang, that's deep, bro.
I'm just soaking it in because like I've heard so many coaches say that, especially the ones you win the most with, you know, because usually when you have a great coach, they're usually pushing you beyond whatever limit you thought you had before.
Yeah, I think a lot of times I didn't have faith in myself. I was just unsure, and my coaches saw something in me, or they believed harder, and then I started believing it too. You know.
Man, that's what's up, bro. Having like the right people around you too is just having the right circle makes a big difference, you know, because if your circle is believing in you, I think it enhances like something in you. Like if they believing in me, like I should be believing in myself then, you know what I mean? Type thing.
Yeah, because some people do it without anybody believing in them. And to be honest, sometimes you got to believe when no one else believes, or when people are telling you can't. Because at some point it's like dang, I forgot the point I was gonna make.
It's all good, bro.
It's all good because I've been there too. Like with me and Justin, we get to chopping it up, but I just get to speaking to somebody at June. I'm like, wait, why was I just saying this? What was the point I was trying to make?
No, but we appreciate you, you know, coming on and everything, bro. Like the insight that you gave, bro, really encouraged me, bro. Like I'm really about to put things down and just get to work, bro, and just live and just it's no more excuses, bro. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. And you got to find something in the journey, even when you don't get the results you want. You got to find, whether it's the experience, the people you meet, things like that. What lesson did you learn from it? What can you take away, and what can you give back to others? And you know, I always try to keep God first. I'm not always the best example, but I always try to keep him in mind that it's like not only for my glory, but it's for God's. You know what I'm saying?
These gems you just casually just dropping. It's like I'm trying to soak it all up, man.
I gotta make sure to acknowledge him because he's been blessing me so much. Like doors and opportunities have been open for me to just step right into. Things have been moved out of the way, like to where he's like, yo, you don't got no option. This is what it is.
Like I said, we appreciate you coming on, bro. I hope we can like do this again, bro. Like, man. But Brandon, this is why I picked him to be my mentor.
Man, Tim, man, we appreciate you sharing your time, bro. Cause you you did drop some gems, bro. That's it from the latest episode of All American State of Mind podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, go ahead, go check out more podcast episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you like to listen to podcasts. And don't forget to rate and review us. In addition to that, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go check out more original content that we have. And until next time, stay safe and be smooth.